For centuries and longer, rats have fought tirelessly to repel the incessant frog invasions. Peace was only ever short-lived, until finally a young monarch rose to power. King Rattus, first of his name, unified the rat kingdoms under one rule, repelling Green Wart and his kind back to the putrid swamps from whence they came. Crops prospered, families flourished, and the magnificent Crimson Keep climbed ever higher toward the sky. But as time passed, King Rattus the Savior grew old, and the kingdom vulnerable once more. His people grew anxious, some claiming to perceive a faint odor in the air. Green Wart had returned with a ferocious vengeance. Amassing an army of unfathomable scale, he burned everything in his path towards the Crimson Keep. King Rattus gazed down upon his withered claws, barely able to hold the crown. He had little hope wielding a sword. So it was decided the crown should pass to Whiskers new. Arise, young prince, for the kingdom needs a hero. And so, your tale begins. This thug of a guard frog wasn't an easy kill, but it was a sweet one. Their leader, Alot, had never been bested in battle. He had a lance as lethal as it was legend. He also had the only key.
The Bog Brothers clan were finally destroyed. Reggie knew they would not be the last. The foul corpse of Bloki Magu lay lifeless on the floor. He had croaked his last orders.
Frogs ended up buried in this revered place. More of his father's secrets. But for now, he had found the book. The other mysteries would have to wait.
Reggie wished King Rattus were with him, to explain these creatures being here. And, if he were being honest, because he missed his father's reassuring presence. With the king dead, Hopefully the waves of Mozi infestations would slow down. The Mozi Queen, foul mother of the swarm. They'd never stop while she lived. With the mother dead, that should be the last of them. For now. Frogs were dealt with, and Reggie had felt no rumbling monster. But sighting the Warchief had made Reggie realize they needed to prepare for an attack. The king was needed in the fort. The switch that gave electricity must be beyond this room. But they'd have to get past the GrubMother first. She was the one infesting the mines with her grublings. great wings had finally stopped buzzing. She and her young would infest this place no longer. This foe was called Mole Mysterio by the crowd. Reggie wondered what name the crowd would give him if he returned to the arena again. The fighter they called Macho Mole was a crowd favorite. Many a mole has lost their head to the brutal swing of his axe. Victory in the arena felt good. Maybe Reggie could learn to like this. This strange device was a blaster. Molecraft more deadly than most bows. Reggie wondered what the smith would think. Blasters make short work of most enemies. The king could get used to this. was dead, and Reggie could barely believe he'd survived. He hoped this would be the last one he encountered. He died as he lived, defending ratfolk from the scourge of frogkind. The guard captain had truly earned his place, entombed alongside kings. The Moleberg shield was thick and heavy, crafted from the strongest plate metal. Getting past it would not be easy. Shields make for slow targets. Slow targets make easy gold. The arena champion, Hulk Molgan, was a living legend of Mole Town. His legend might have to live on without him. Arena champion, King Demolition. They cheered. One legend had died, but another had come to take its place. Double trouble means double gold. As Reggie cut the final combatant down, the crowd cheered his victory. Bloodthirsty though it was, he had grown fond of Mole Town. Reggie had little trust in shamans. There was more mystery in this world than his father had taught him. The shaman had gone, but he'd left a key. The shaman had tried to hide in his workshop. The things he'd made and used on Reggie's kin were here. There was nowhere he could hide. The shaman's cruel experiments were over in a puff of foul green smoke. The Warchief's throne room could not be far. He was the one who started this, so it was with a sword in his skull that it must end. What was this evil twist on molecraft? A grotesque monster of creaking gears and steam. The sight of it made Reggie freeze. But Jay's fury could not be held back. The sound of his small friend's body falling lifted the spell. Reggie didn't know what this thing was, only that it would die screaming. It was no beast, but his own brother in the evil machine. This was the frog's final insult, to turn his own blood into his unwitting enemy. But Denis knew where the Warchief was. Ashamed and angry at what he'd done, Denis ran ahead, wanting to spare Reggie this fight. Even in the frog slime and its stench of death, it felt good to be fighting with his brother at his side. No, Reggie wouldn't believe it. Everything the evil frogs had taken from him, his father, his friend, his kingdom. They wouldn't take his brother, and they wouldn't take him. Warchief was dead, and the kingdom saved. For what did it matter if his brother was gone? The rat folk rejoiced to have their king home. They had prepared for Reggie's coronation in the throne room. They had been sure he would return to them. To Reggie, it was a bittersweet victory. He had proved himself, but it came at a cost higher than gold. It was the start of a true golden age, free of the scourge of frog spawn. Working with the mole folk below, they built a new kingdom of steam and industry and wonder. But that is, as they say, a tale for another time. The greatest threat was conquered, but Reggie wondered if there were any tasks he'd left unfinished, or foes left undefeated. Now was the time to be sure. Amy had taken refuge by an old statue and was getting some much-needed shut-eye. Reggie only meant to wake the bard, but his shout awoke the zombified remains of Mousamoto Muslashi. Mousamoto was a legendary swordmaster. Reggie hoped to get one more lesson before putting him to rest. He could have learned from Mousamoto when he was alive. But now, his dual blades had fallen silent forever. Reggie directed Amy to the Crimson Keep, glad to have found her safe. As soon as Reggie set paw in the Hall of Books, he knew something was wrong. Something in the shadows, quieter than a mouse. It was Fang Bu, an infamous warlord known for his brutality with a halberd. Fang Bu finally laid to rest, Chetty scooped up pages of the Book of Immortal Song. With a nod of thanks to Reggie, he scurried towards the surface. After all they'd been through, Reggie hoped the young bards gave a historic performance. Not a horde, but Croakhis Khan. This fearsome Toad Queen rode his lizard steed into many a battle, but this would be his last. It's rumored that 1 in 8 frogs can trace their lineage to the great Croakhis. But this old toad would sire no more. With Croakhis defeated, Johnny and Bertle thanked Reggie for his help. Reggie hoped in the future they would find safer and less pungent places to trade. Hacking his way through extinct monster guts was not how Reggie expected today to go. Still, the head of a legendary mudworm to adorn his royal bedchamber would be no small reward. Seb led them to the scrapper's location. They had been harvesting materials from the corpse of the Grub Queen. If the Grub King saw them, he would be bumped through. Too late. The Grub King had returned for the culprits and found Reggie and Seb.
a Stalker Queen and a fresh brood of eggs. Reggie supposed this was a good reason for the train being late today.
Gray Ears put up a hearty challenge, but his grand hops were no match for Reggie's iron will. Scurvy sea rat put up a good fight, but Reggie thought the captain might be better off sticking to the ocean.
Denis once again felt the bitterness of defeat at his younger brother's paws. Avor happily admitting defeat, Reggie knew he had passed the old rat's challenge. The young rat truly was the people's king. Rat, half-frog abomination must have been the work of his father. Reggie wondered whether this was the source of all the undead in the crypts. Another of King Rattus' secrets, best kept hidden. Reggie's renown in the arena brought challengers from every corner of the known ratdom. From the cold rivers of the north came the brutal Billy Von Dam. Beaver's bite wasn't enough to stop King Demolition. Reggie wondered if he'd gained any fans among the beaver folk. Molehammad Moli made a name for himself with his swift feet and swifter paws. But Reggie could roll like a hedgehog and pounce like a bat. This swift-pawed champion was as light-footed as any dancer of a Bolshevik ballet, but not nimble enough to overcome King Demolition. The Grub Buster armor was Molekind's ingenious defense against even the most vicious grub bites. Reggie wondered how it would stand up to his sword. The plate armor of the Grub Buster suit didn't stand a chance against King Demolition and his trusty sword. Reggie wondered if the moles would make him a Frog Buster suit. The Squirrel Elder's lifeless body lay on the floor, the priest at his side. Before Reggie could approach, he found out why they were trapped here. This was the nest of the Beetle Queen. Beetle Queen in her glimmering grave, Reggie approached the still body of the Squirrel Elder. The Squirrel Elder rose with a yelp. He'd been in trance from the ritual smoking of extra potent bright moss. Unaware, he almost became the Beetle Queen's snack. Thanking Reggie for the rescue, they headed back to begin the festival. The shrine of the tapped root stood before him, but the root looked damaged. Before Reggie could wonder what had done this, he got his answer. A root worm, bloated and enraged by bright sap. Had been banished from these parts for generations. Reggie had a feeling its presence meant something was rotten in the state of bright fur. To Reggie's dismay, the tap was broken. Reggie did not look forward to returning to the Squirrel Elder with no sacred sap and news of rootworms. The frog squatter was none other than General Hack, no better than a common thief looting supplies. The only thing he'd be taking today was his last breath. Seems he wasn't the only one here for vengeance. Shield Maiden Yellowtongue was waiting, screaming the name of her fallen brother, Warchief Greenwart. Fading echoes of her last croak, Castle Dre was returned to peace. There was a shrine in the room, carved figures of Reggie and his enemies in Bright Fir Forest. The frogs had planned it all to lure him here. The squirrels at the Bright Fir rejoiced to hear Castle Dre was back to its somber state of peace once more. The Squirrel Elder could start the Leaf Fall Festival at last. Reggie basked in the joy of the squirrel folk, as warming as the golden light of the firs. He reclined in his chair and was honored with a cup of bright sap. Being king has its perks.